The Chargers just started making moves post-regular season, and honestly, it feels like the offseason has begun. But the actual offseason starts in July. So things are already happening for the Chargers, and one big move, signing 10 players to future contracts, shows they're preparing for next season. Now, what does that move exactly mean, and who are they? Most importantly, how this move will help the Los Angeles Chargers in the upcoming 2025 season, so stick around. What's up, buddies? Welcome back. If you are new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We cover all AFC West news here on this channel. The Chargers just signed 10 players to future contracts, which essentially means these players are invited to training camp next year. It's like saying, you've got a shot to be one of the 90 guys competing for a roster spot. However, it doesn't guarantee they'll make the final team. They still have to prove themselves and earn it. For those who don't know, let me explain it to you. Teams sign future contracts with players during the offseason to secure their rights for the next season, typically before the official start of free agency or training camp. These contracts allow teams to add players to their 90-man roster, which is the maximum number of players allowed for the offseason, even if the player isn't immediately joining the active roster. A future contract is a way to bring in players who might not make the team right away, but will compete for a spot in training camp. These players often come from the practice squad, free agents, or players who are on the fringe of making the team. The contract ensures the team has an opportunity to evaluate these players during the offseason and see if they can contribute to the future. Essentially, it gives the player a chance to prove themselves, and the team gets a deeper pool of talent to work with as they build their roster. Now, every team does this just after their previous season ends, but the important thing is who you select and sign and how early you make this move. So, among these 10 players, there are a few players worth highlighting. Karsen Barnhart, a guard from Michigan, is one of them. It would be great to see him get more action and continue developing his skills. He's got the potential to grow into a solid player. Then there's Hinton, another Michigan guy. He played as a defensive tackle. Hinton's NFL career has been a bit of a challenge compared to his time at Michigan. In college, he was a solid defensive tackle, good at stopping the run and causing problems for the offense. He wasn't a huge star, but he showed enough talent to catch the attention of NFL teams, even though he went undrafted in 2022. Dez Fitzpatrick also stands out. He's a bit more experienced, having been a fourth-round pick. Is he the future at wide receiver? Probably not, but he's someone you'd like to see as a solid depth piece, contributing here and there while the team develops other guys. Interestingly, Dez had a pretty strong relative athletic score. For those who don't know, RAS measures raw athleticism, and it gives a good idea of a player's physical potential. The RAS score, as it's called, goes up to 10. With 10 being elite. Dez Fitzpatrick had a solid 8.8, which is impressive. He's got good size and speed, making him an intriguing player. The thing is, his 3-cone drill score was pretty rough, and that's an area where improvement could elevate his overall performance. Still, he's an athletic guy with potential. As a fourth-round pick, he's been up and down in the league, spending time with the Titans and now the Chargers. Players like Dez are exactly the kind of depth pieces teams need. Guys who might not be stars, but can step in and contribute when needed. We're not asking him to be a game changer, but it would be great to see him find some consistency and carve out a role. Before diving back into that list, here's an interesting note. PFF recently released their highest graded players from Wild Card Weekend, and at the top of the list was Tony Jefferson. What made this stand out was a big highlight play. Jefferson blew up a trick play from Houston deep in their own territory. He punched the ball away from Joe Mixon, secured it, and handed Justin Herbert and the offense another chance on the field. It's those kinds of big plays that make safety such a crucial position for the Chargers. We've already seen how important Derwin James is, showing he can come drop back in coverage or come down in the box, which shows just how crucial the safety position is for the Chargers. It's a spot that requires depth and versatility, and the team needs to keep an eye on it moving forward. Elijah Molden is another name worth mentioning. Unfortunately, he's been injured, but when he's healthy, he's a key piece that could make a difference. Sometimes it's easy to forget about these guys who've been sidelined. Speaking of depth, another name to watch is Alohi Gilman. Here's the thing. When you look at the PFF rankings for Wild Card Weekend, the Chargers had 3 players in the top 6. That's no small feat. The cupboard isn't bare. This team isn't in a position of desperation like, oh no, what are we going to do? They've got talent. You've got a great quarterback, a solid coach, and key players already in place. The pieces are there for this team to do something special. Now, shifting gears, let's dive into a full 7-round mock draft. I'll run through it quickly to give you an idea of what it could look like. These mock drafts are great for brainstorming and exploring potential strategies. Sure, you can go read 100 mock drafts out there, but the goal here is to provide a fresh perspective. Let's see what stands out among the top picks. When it comes to the draft, let's start with the first-round pick at 22. Some mock drafts have the Chargers selecting Tyler Warren, while others, like PFF, suggest Colston Loveland. Both are among the top tight ends in this draft class. Will they still be available at 22? Hard to say, but I love the idea of taking a tight end. Here's why the tight end pick makes so much sense. It's like drafting an offensive lineman who can also contribute in the passing game. Both Warren and Loveland are solid blockers and legitimate threats as pass catchers. Just imagine adding a tight end like that to the offense. It could be a game changer for Justin Herbert. And sure, Herbert didn't play his best last season. We all saw that. But no one doubts his talent. What he really needs are more weapons. He's got the coach, he's got the skill, but giving him more options to work with could take things to the next level. Right now, you've got someone like Ladd McConkey, who's just a rookie and everyone knows he's getting the ball. Even so, he managed to stay productive and make plays. Adding a tight end would open up the offense and make it less predictable. Moving on to the second round, a defensive tackle from Ohio State is the pick at 55. Then, in the third round, you grab Caleb Johnson, a running back. So you've got tight end, defensive tackle, and running back as the first three picks. This kind of balance addresses key needs while giving Herbert and the defense additional tools. We've talked a lot about offensive line, and honestly, a tight end pick fits that category too, as it helps bolster both blocking and receiving. But beyond that, the focus has to shift to the offensive line, almost like it's the main job. Now, don't get confused when you listen to me saying that. On one hand, we are saying we need to get weapons for Justin Herbert. On the other hand, we're emphasizing the offensive line. But here's the thing, free agency could solve a lot of those skill position gaps. With $70 million available and potentially up to $100 million, if decisions about Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack's futures come into play, there's room to address those areas. In the draft, though, focusing on a young core offensive line makes the most sense. The reality is that high-quality offensive linemen are almost never available in free agency. It's all about supply and demand. The truly great ones are drafted and locked into long-term deals because teams know how hard they are to replace. College offenses are changing, and while there are still good linemen coming out, the transition to the NFL isn't as seamless for many. That's why drafting and developing your own young talent on the offensive line is so crucial. The bottom line with offensive linemen is simple. If you get the opportunity to draft a good one, you take it. That's just how valuable they are. Take the 10 players signed to future contracts, for example. These are practice squad guys or players hovering on the edge of an active roster spot. The team is essentially saying to them, we want you back. Stay here, compete, and fight for a roster spot in the fall. For the players, it's great. They know where they'll be and they can focus on preparing for the opportunity. For the Chargers, it's a way to maintain a base of potential contributors. If one or two of these guys step up and become solid depth pieces or even active roster players, it could make a real difference. No, they're not going to revolutionize the team, but having dependable depth is always a game changer during a long NFL season. And let's not forget the high-graded players from Wild Card Weekend. PFF had Ladd McConkey and Alohi Gilman ranked 6th overall, which is a testament to the talent already on this roster. Building on that with smart drafting and development will only make the team stronger. Let me know your thoughts, and we'll keep the conversation going throughout the offseason. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you all in the next one. Bye.